We're about to dive into this incredible true story about a 16-year-old girl who just always felt, well, like she didn't quite fit in her own home. But the truth she was about to uncover about her real identity, it's way, way stranger and more shocking than anything you could make up. And that feeling, that's really the heart of this whole story. It's something a lot of us might feel at some point, right? But for this teenager, a girl named Rhea, that little nagging doubt was the first clue to a secret that would change her entire life. So let's start from the very beginning. On the outside, Rhea's life looked totally normal, but deep down, something just wasn't sitting right with her. I mean, if you looked at her life on paper, everything seemed fine. She was 16, lived in a small, loving house. Her parents weren't rolling in money, but they were good people. She kept telling herself she was happy, but there was always this disconnect, this feeling inside her that something was just off. And this wasn't just some vague feeling, you know? It was specific things, like she'd look in the mirror and she just didn't see her mom's eyes or her dad's smile looking back. Her friends would go on and on about who they look like in their families, and for Rhea, it was just this constant, quiet reminder that she felt totally different. And then, the moment that just changed everything. It was a joke, just a casual, throwaway line from a friend, something that was supposed to be funny. But that one little question, asked just for a laugh, it landed with this incredible weight. It was the first time anybody had ever said her secret thought out loud. In that moment, while everyone else was laughing, Rhea just felt this chill. Yeah, that joke wasn't funny to her, not at all, because it was the exact question she'd been asking herself, silently, for years. And now that seed of doubt was planted right out in the open, and she knew she couldn't ignore it anymore. So that one little seed of doubt, it led her to ask a question that would change everything. And this is where her quiet suspicion just blows up into a life-shattering moment with a reveal that was bigger than anything she could have possibly imagined. So that night, Rhea went to her mom, and she just flat out asked her, "Am I adopted?" The answer she got wasn't in words. It was in the way her mother's face just went completely white and this heavy, deafening silence that just filled the entire room. In that silence, without a single word, Rhea knew the truth. Okay, so the initial shock of being adopted starts to sink in. But what comes right after that? An even bigger question, the one that would completely unravel her world. If these people weren't her parents, then who were? Her dad, you could tell he was just so nervous, he handed her this old, worn-out envelope. She opens it, and inside, it's not a letter. It's a photo, and the faces staring back at her, they weren't strangers. Not at all. They were people she had seen everywhere, on TV, all over social media. I mean, can you even imagine that? The absolute shock, the disbelief. One minute, you're just a normal kid living a normal life. The next, you're holding a picture that tells you your biological parents are like international superstars. Her entire reality just got flipped completely upside down. And believe it or not, that shocking discovery was only the beginning. Rhea's quiet, simple life was about to crash head-on into a world of fame, luxury, and unimaginable choices. So she needed answers, and Rhea did something unbelievably brave. She actually reached out to them, and against all odds, they got back to her. They confirmed everything. Yes, she was their daughter, and they wanted to meet her. So she does it. She steps into their world. And it is everything you'd picture. A giant mansion, fancy cars, a life where everything seems absolutely perfect. And they welcomed her with this huge hug like they've been waiting her whole life for that moment. They explained they had to give her up because their careers were just taking off, but now they wanted her back. And just like that, Rhea is faced with this impossible choice. On one side, you've got the small house and the unconditional love of the parents who raised her, who are always there. On the other, a mansion, a new beginning, a life of fame and luxury with the parents who gave her life. Seriously, what do you even do with a choice like that? So this brings us to the emotional climax of the story. She's staring at these two completely different futures, and Rhea has to decide not just where she's going to live, but who she really is. You know, the moment of clarity, it didn't come from all the glamour of her new life. It came from the quiet reality of her old one. She went home that night, and she saw her adoptive parents, and their eyes were filled with tears. They were so scared. They weren't famous, they weren't rich, but they had given her every single thing that actually mattered. And in that moment, she knew. She made her choice, She went back to her biological parents and told them something that showed so much wisdom. I want you in my life, but I'm not leaving my real family. She made it crystal clear where her home and her heart truly belonged. And that was really the biggest lesson from her entire journey. Family, it's not about blood or money or being famous. It's built on love, on showing up, on just being there for someone day in and day out. So, what happens after a huge decision like that? Well, the story doesn't just end with her choice. It actually ends with the creation of something brand new and totally unique. See, Rhea didn't really choose one family over the other. In the end, she chose to embrace both of them. She created this new kind of blended family, a life that connects these two totally different worlds. And in doing that, the girl who always felt like she didn't belong anywhere finally realized she belonged in both places all along. Rhea's story is just wild, but it leaves us all with a pretty big question to think about. It kind of forces you to look past the old school definitions and really consider what makes a family. Is it blood, or is it the love and the support that really builds a home? It's definitely something to think about.